Hello guys and welcome back to another video on Sports Reels, and today I'm predicting the Indianapolis Colts 2021 season schedule. And if you didn't know already, I'm predicting each and every one of the NFL team schedules, and if you want to see all those videos, the link will be in the icon right now and the description below. It's basically a playlist with all my videos. So let's get it right into it. And also one more thing, for all the similar games, and if you don't know what similar games are, it's the games I've already predicted during other team schedules. For example, the Tennessee Titans. I already predicted them in the Tennessee Titans video, so I'll be trying to match the result, basically keep it same between videos so it looks nice and clean. Alright, let's get into it now. So week 1, they're playing the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not predicting the preseason. The Seahawks team, they've been going concerns. People had concerns about Russell Wilson leaving, and I think he was not going to ever leave. Bears tried trading for him, but I don't think they're going to accept it. I think he was just sort of trying to get the team to get him a better offensive line, which he clearly needed because you can see especially in the NFC wildcard game against the Rams, they got absolutely decimated by the Rams. The Rams sacked him a lot. They could get nothing done, and they lost, which I didn't expect them to. So I think they did get a couple alignment. They improved their team, but I feel like the problem with the Seahawks is all the other teams improved way more than they did. They basically only got a slightly better line. They didn't get any huge players either. And I think the Colts, they improved by quite a good amount. They got a new quarterback, Carson Wentz. He has kind of an okay past. He had his MVP season, then he started to fall off. But people sometimes blame that on his offensive line, which was pretty bad in Philadelphia. But now he has one of the best offensive lines in the league, which should help him a lot. So with saying that, I think that will be enough to get them to win right here against Seattle Seahawks. I think both teams have a pretty good offense. The Seattle Seahawks, I think, have a better offense, but the Colts have a better defense. And I think their defense line will disrupt the Seahawks. Not completely destroy them, but it'll do a pretty good job in stopping them. And it'll stop their wide receivers little. They have a pretty good wide receiver core, the Seahawks, but they'll still get a couple scores in. On the offense side of the ball, I think Carson Wentz will have a good debut game. Seahawks secondary was not too great. They played a little weak last year. I think the Seahawks will let up some points, and I think they'll lose because of that. I think the final score will be 28-20. Seahawks win. No, I meant Colts win. My bad. Okay, now going into week 2 versus the Los Angeles Rams. The LA Rams, in my opinion, are one of the biggest contenders next year. They have one of the best defenses in the league, with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey leading them. And on the offensive side, they've been pretty weak last season, but now they have a new quarterback in Matthew Stafford, and I believe he'll have a pretty good season on a new team, finally gone from the Lions, who've cursed him his whole career, except a couple of seasons did good. Other than that, he's been pretty bad. Well, he's not been bad on the Lions. The team has been bad, which he tries his best. He has good stats, but when your other players don't perform well, it's pretty hard to carry the team by yourself. So I'm gonna say the Rams defense is gonna stop the Colts offense, mainly because I don't think Carson Wentz, like I said, he'll have an okay season, but he won't have an insane season. And I think the main weakness for the Colts is their wide receiver core, because they have T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman. Those are Pascal, and those are not the greatest receivers. Michael Pittman, his second year. T.Y. Hilton, he's used to be really good, but now he's been playing pretty bad. And Pascal, he's only an average, below average receiver. So I think they'll lock up their secondary. In the run game, they do have Jonathan Taylor, but the Rams defensive line is one of the best in the league, and I think they'll stop them there. So I think the Colts defense will try their best, but when their offense puts up no points, it's going to be hard. So I have the final score being 17-6. Colts take their first loss of the year. Oh, I meant to put 6. Alright, going on to week 2, it's the Colts versus the Tennessee Titans. I think these two teams have a chance of winning the division. The Titans and the Colts are pretty strong teams. They were strong teams last year. They both made it to the playoffs. I think they'll continue. The Titans, they had their new offensive weapon in Julio Jones. And on the defensive side, they got good players. They got, who is that good? They got Bud Dupree from the Steelers. And they got Caleb Farley, is it? They got a cornerback. I'm pretty sure it was Caleb Farley in the draft. That's going to help them a lot. But the Colts defense is already pretty good, like I said. but the Titans' offense is really good. And I think this could go either way, but this time around, I'm going to give it to the Titans. I think their offense will break through the Colts' defense. They're not going to have a great game this week, but their offense, the Colts' offense will also have a good game, but it won't be enough. I think Derrick Henry will run all over them, and their wide receiver core, their new wide receiver core with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones is going to be pretty hard for most secondaries to stop. And Tannehill's a pretty good passing quarterback, so I think they'll be able to get the win off that. But like I said, these games could go either way between these two teams. I think both of them have a good chance of winning the division. So lost 28-24. All right, versus the Miami Dolphins. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I believe this will be a defensive-sided game. Both teams have a pretty good defense. Colts have a better defense, but I feel like the Dolphins have a better offense. The Dolphins got Jalen Waddle, which is a pretty good improvement to their weaker wide receiver core. But Tua, we don't know how he's going to play. Last season, he did okay. I'm not one of those Tua haters saying he'll suck, but like we don't actually really know. Since last season, he only had an okay season, and many times Fitzpatrick had to come in and bail him out. That happened like once or twice. So we don't know what's going on with Tua, so that's why I'm making this a low-scoring game next to good defenses and little bad offenses. But I'm actually going to give the Dolphins the edge here. I just feel like Carson Wentz is not going to have a really good game this week. I think he'll throw a couple of interceptions, and that'll be like the decider that will allow the Dolphins get easy field possession and score, but still low scoring, 14-10 victory for the Dolphins. All right, moving on to Week 5 versus the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Colts are going to get their first win in 3 weeks. I feel like the Ravens team is also very good. They have a high-powered offense, but I think, the Colts defense will be able to stop Lamar. I mean, their defense is also pretty good, the Ravens, but it's not like as good as most teams. I would say it's like average. I think Carson Wentz is going to have a good game. Jonathan Taylor is going to get a lot of yards. I think he'll have a pretty good game also. I think he'll have 100 yards rushing this game. And I think basically their run ground and some passing is going to get them the victory. It's still going to be it's going to be an okay scoring game. I feel like the Ravens will try to come back late. It'll be like sort of like 24 to like maybe 10, and they'll get a touchdown in garbage time to make it 24-17. But a pretty good win for the Colts to get a rebound. Okay, so now versus the Houston Texans. Like I said in the Texans video, this Texans team is not good. Even if Deshaun Watson plays, and I doubt he will, I think this Texans team is not good. This team has nothing really great about it other than Deshaun Watson if he plays. And I don't see them doing anything against the Colts. I'm behind the Colts, beating them 24-8. Like I said, they might get something in garbage time, and all these players are like worn out and everything. But other than that, nothing much from the Colts. I think Carson Wentz will have a fun game. He'll have 300 or more than 350 yards passing. All right, next versus the 49ers. This 49ers team has a really good defense, and they're off on the offensive side though. They're kind of weak. I feel like they're kind of like the Colts. They both have good running backs on the offense. Their wide receivers are okay, and their quarterback situation's a little iffy right now. But on the defense side, these teams are good. But the problem with the 49ers defense, it's hard for them to stay healthy. We saw what happened last season. Everyone just got injured. Bosa got injured. Their linebackers, everyone got injured on that team. And they couldn't do anything. So I'm not going to factor that in, but I could see that being a big factor because already Week 7, it's almost the halfway point of the season. So that could be a big factor for the 49ers. But even without that, I still think the Colts are going to barely pull off the victory. I think this will be a really close game. Defensive-sided game. I think the final score will be 17-14. Colts pull off the win. I think this game will go in overtime also. I feel like both offenses will not have too great of a game, mainly because these defenses are just so stacked. They have both a lot of key players. And these offenses, they're not like horrible. They're not just comparable to the defenses that they're playing against. So I don't know who's starting in the 49ers. I think Trey Lance will start by now, but I think if regardless of the quarterback that starts, the Colts are still going to barely get the W. But I could go either way. All right, now their rematch versus their division rival, the Tennessee Titans. And this time I have it going the other way around, and the Colts beating the Titans. Like I said, both teams, they have like the opposites. The Colts have a good defense. Titans have really good offense. The Colts offense is average. The Titans defense is average. So this could go either way. I think Colts will pull off the victory in their home stadium against the Titans this time around. I'm really excited to see these matchups when they play against each other. It's going to be fun to watch. Oh, shoot. Okay. Now moving on to the next week versus the New York Jets. And the Jets, they have improved. Don't get me wrong, but they're still not going to be a competing team. I think they're still going to need like a year or two to rebuild, but they're going to have an improvement this season. Not like insane improvement like what the Dolphins did, but still like a pretty good improvement this season. I think I had them going like 5-6 wins, which is not bad for a team that's trying to rebuild. But I think on the defensive side, Zach Wilson's not going to have a pretty good game. I think he's going to throw a pick or two, which is going to be pretty bad for him. And then on the offensive side, with those turnovers, they're going to get some touchdowns. And the Jets' defense is probably one of the worst in the league, probably top 3 and worst, maybe top 5 if I'm being generous. So I think the Colts offense will have an easy road against it. And I think the Colts are going to let up some points towards the end of the game. I think they're going to rest some people at that point, and they're already winning by a lot, so that's why. But other than that, I could see them blowing them out, but towards the end of the game, I think they'll rest a little. They don't want to get injured and all. So I think final score will be 27-17. The Colts pull off the victory. All right. It's like it's like the midway point of the season since there's 18 weeks. So I'm gonna do just a record check just to see what record they are at right now. So they've had 3 losses and 6 wins. So they're 6-3 at the midway point, which is pretty good. They'll probably be in the playoff picture right now. So yeah, pretty good for the Colts. Alright, let's move back onto the schedule predictions. Alright, week 10 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This Jaguars team, sort of like the Jets, they've improved, but I don't think they're going to be nearly as good as the Jets because the Jets, at least they have some, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I could actually see these teams are sort of equal. Like, they do have Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars. They do have Travis Etienne. They have James Robinson, which is really good on the offense side. And they have, like, DJ Chark and D.D. Westbrook. So I think their offense is pretty good. Sort of like the Jets. They have, like, Jameson Crowder and there's Zach Wilson. They have one other good receiver. I forgot his name. He's really fast also. Forgot his name, but I know the Jets are another okay receiver. But on the defensive side, both of these teams are kind of atrocious. So it's sort of going to be like an offensive battle. It would be. Why am I comparing the Jets and Jaguars? But I'm basically saying these teams are similar, so I'm going to have like a similar result. I have the Colts beating them, actually by more, I think. 30-13. I have the Colts winning this game. Sorry, I got a little off track there. Basically, Colts offense is going to roll past them on the defensive side. Trevor Lawrence will try to do what he can, but it's not going to be enough. Now, playing the Buffalo Bills. I think it's going to be the real test for the Colts this season, and I think they're going to fail this test, unfortunately. This Bills team, I think their offense is too good for the Colts. They're just going to roll past them. Well, actually, not too good, but I think the Colts are going to put up a fight, but eventually they're going to break. They're going to get a touchdown or two. And on the defensive side, I think the Bills are just going to clamp the Colts. Carson Wentz is not going to have a great game. I don't think he'll be like any turnover crazy, but I don't think he'll be getting anything done. Like rarely getting up to the other side of the field, just basically just failing on offense. I think it'll sort of be a low-scoring game, 17-3 loss for the Colts. But still, I think they'll put up a fight. But I think this Bills offense is too much for almost any defense in the league. Now playing the Patriots, the Buccaneers and Tom Brady, and I think this will be another similar like game. But I feel like the Buccaneers are even better team because they have a top like 5 defense, you could say, and a top 5 offense you could like argue about. So I think this Buccaneers team is pretty stacked, and I think they'll also like roll past the Colts. I don't be like not like destroying, but they'll probably pretty easily get this victory. I'm going 24-10 victory for the Buccaneers. I think same reasons. This offense is going to get past the Colts defense, and on the offense side, the Colts will be nothing to done against this defense because if the passing game, like I said before, like Carson Wentz, even if he plays okay and the receivers do okay, it's still not going to be enough. And they have a really good running back, Jonathan Taylor, but the Bucs D line is also really stacked as well, so that'll be able to stop them. Alright, now playing the Houston Texans before their bye week. And I think, like I said before, the Texans are gonna lose again, but I think it'll be a little closer, 20-14. Still like a one possession game. I think it'll just be a little closer game this time. Like you can see sometimes even in these in teams like this in division matchups, especially in the AFC South. I was looking at last year's schedules. Even the bad teams almost beat the good teams. Like last year, the Jaguars beat the Colts in their only win of the season. The Titans and the Texans had two close games, and you can see like even if the bad teams play the good teams, I saw in this division especially like the bad teams are almost beating them, but usually that doesn't happen. So that's why I'm putting them a sort of close game. Other than that, no real reason why. Maybe because division rivalry sometimes does some crazy stuff. Alright, now going into their bye week, I'll do another record check. They have 5 losses and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins. So they're 8-5 right now. So not as good as like the midway point of the season, but they're doing still pretty good. This will probably be like I don't know if they'll be leading the division at this point, but they'll probably be close to leading division or having wild card spot. Alright, after their bye week, they're playing the New England Patriots. This Patriots team had a pretty good free agency. I was looking at like some like charts and stuff. It said they've improved the most. And yeah, I'm a Patriots fan, so I believe they've improved a lot, but I don't think they've improved enough to beat the Colts. It'll be kind of closer than it would be last year, but I feel like the Colts defense is just going to stop the Patriots offense. Their Patriots offense was pretty atrocious last year. They didn't get much done with Cam Newton at the helm. And I'm predicting these as if Cam Newton's playing because I can't really predict when Mac Jones is coming in. So I'll just predict as he's in. So I think even if Mac Jones is here, I don't think they'll be able to do anything. I think they'll lock up the Patriots running back core and their wide receiver core, and they won't be able to do much. And on the offensive side, the Patriots defense is pretty good, but I feel like at some point the Patriots defense will break apart and they'll get a couple touchdowns, or they'll get a couple touchdowns off turnovers, and that'll allow the Colts to win. It won't be a blowout, but it'll be a 2-possession game. Colts win 24-13. Now they're playing the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. I think the Cardinals are gonna have like a similar season last year. Nothing like huge, but last year they went like 8-8 or something like that, something close to that. And I feel like they'll be somewhere around that range, maybe 1 or 2 wins more or 1 win less. Their team, I don't know if improve. Oh, they got J.J. Watt. That's their main improvement. I remember that. But I feel like their defensive line was already good enough, but he'll help, of course. So that might help stop the run game. But I think the Colts are still going to pull off the victory. I just feel like the Colts team is more experienced and better. Kyler Murray is a pretty good quarterback, but he has pretty good wide receivers also. He has DeAndre Hopkins. Other than that, no one really that much. I guess Christian Kirk, he's okay. Nothing too good. But I feel like the Colts are just a better team. I think they'll lock up the Cardinals offense. Even the Cardinals offense is pretty good. I feel like if they really stop D-Hop and like Kenyon, like their run game, I think they'll stop their run game, then I don't think the Cardinals offense will do much. So I think that was going to be the main factor. And on the offensive side, I feel like the Cardinals offense isn't too great either. Their defensive line is pretty good, and they have Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, but their secondary, they do have Isaiah Simmons. But their cornerbacks are like okay. They're not nothing too great. I don't remember who their cornerbacks are, but I feel that's probably why I don't think they're so great, because I can't really remember anyone on their team. So, yeah, I think the Colts are going to pull off this victory. I think they'll win 17-6, sort of a low-scoring game. I just don't remember if the Cardinals defense is good or not. I feel like they were okay. I feel like the Colts defense will just stop their offense, and then they'll get a couple touchdowns off turnovers and things like that. Alright, now they're playing the Raiders, Week 17. The Raiders, we've seen what they've done in the previous seasons. They have a pretty promising start, then towards the end of the season they just fall apart. And I think it's going to be like a repeat of that. But I think it'll be like even less of a promising start from the Raiders. The Raiders, they traded away a lot of their O-line, which was not great. They did get some O-linemen back, but they lost like some key pieces. And other than that, I don't really know who else they got. They still have their pretty good wide receiver Henry Ruggs. He'll probably be improvement, and Josh Jacobs plus Derek Carr. So their offense is looking pretty good. But then against the Colts defense, pretty good. But the problem is the Raiders secondary is so bad. I think even the Colts wide receivers will get past them. They'll just Carson Wentz will dot them up. So I think the Colts will get a lot of points. And I think to sort of be like a small blow, nothing like too big, but I feel like the Raiders can't compete with the Colts. I have the Colts winning 35-14. Now the final game of the season versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And like I said in all my videos, like there could be a chance they just rest all their starters in this game, but I'm not doing any of my predictions like that because it'd be like too complicated to figure out that. And I would have to like predict everything at the same exact time also to know all their records. So I'm predicting this as if the Colts are actually playing all their starters. And I think with that, the Colts are going to win. I think it's going to be around the same score last time. I feel like Trevor Lawrence will play a little better this game. He'll get like a couple more points, less turnovers. But I still think the Colts will just beat them by a lot here. I have a 36-16 victory. I think they might get like a touchdown and 2 points or something around them. When they were down by a lot, they'll just go for 2 or something. So yeah. Alright, so let me count their record now that all my predictions are done. They have 5 losses, meaning they have 12 wins, meaning they're 12-5. I'm pretty sure that's the same exact record the Titans got. And since they split their games, like the first tiebreaker is is record. So since both are 12-5. Then the second tiebreaker is head-to-head, but they split their games. Both teams won once, so it'll move on to I think like division record next. So I think that means either team could actually win this division. So that's gonna be interesting to see who would win this division. But like I said, this Colts team pretty good. If they had a couple better wide receivers, I could see them winning 1 or 2 more games. But their wide receiver core and a questionable quarterback, we don't know how good Carson Wentz is gonna do. I said he's gonna have an okay season. But he might be really trashed like last year, and maybe the O-line wasn't his downfall. Maybe it was just his bad playing. The O-line just like helped cement that. So who knows? Only time will tell. But I have them going 12-5, tied first in the division or second. I have to like look more into it. But yeah, so that's the Colts season. Thanks for watching. Remember to check out my other videos in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.